All right, welcome back. Today we're continuing our RBT exam review, where we're going through our next set of questions from our latest mock exam and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. If you're looking for our proven study materials, please check out rbtexamreview.com. We have our 3 practice exams, our task list study guide, and of course, our famous combo pack. Any questions, comments, please let us know. We also offer a YouTube membership now where you can support us even further and get access to our Discord channel. Other than that, let's keep working hard, keep studying hard, get to our questions. You bought your little brother a yo-yo for his birthday. You teach him the trick, walk the dog. A week later, you come home and see he can also do around the world in cat's cradle. Your brother is demonstrating what? Okay, starting off with more of a challenging question, but that's okay. Let's work through it. Whose behavior are we looking at? Start there. Behavior questions. Identify who we're concerned with. And we're concerned with the brother. So we're not worried about what we taught them or you taught them. We're worried about the brother. So we know you bought the yo-yo and taught him walk the dog, but now your brother can also do around the world in cat's cradle. So is your brother engaging in more responses, or is he just responding to more stimuli? Well, he's just engaging in more responses, right? The yo-yo is the stimuli, and he can walk the dog, and now all of a sudden he can do around the world in cat's cradle. So what is he demonstrating? A, stimulus generalization. Stimulus generalization is when a single response occurs across multiple stimuli, which is why we asked in the beginning, are we dealing with multiple responses here or multiple stimuli? And we're dealing with multiple responses. So it's not going to be stimulus generalization. It's going to be response generalization. He's generalized these responses, right, to other means, okay, other ways of responding to the yo-yo. Not only can he walk the dog, now he can do around the world in cat's cradle. In other words, we have multiple responses in response to a single stimulus yo-yo. Your brother isn't demonstrating shaping. He isn't reinforcing successive approximations of behavior. And he isn't generalizing anything. He hasn't generalized, okay, to rooms or different people or different yo-yo as far as we know. Now, yes, he is response generalizing, right? But he's not generalizing in the ultimate sense of across stimuli, environments, and people. So be careful there, right? Response generalization is the best answer, and that's what we're looking for. We want the best answer. And the best answer here is response generalization. What is a primary difference between extinction and punishment? First things first, I always try to remind you of this. Extinction and punishment are 2 different things. If we think of our principles of ABA, reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. Those are the principles of behavior change. Punishment and extinction, they both decrease behavior, but they're not the same thing at all. So what separates them? How can we start to identify when it's extinction and when it's punishment? Well, there's a pretty basic way of doing that. So let's go through the answer choices. A, one decreases behavior and one does not. Is that true? Well, no, they both are going to decrease behavior. So A is out. B, punishment is typically more ethical than extinction. That is also untrue. Typically, extinction has less ethical concerns, especially when paired with the differential reinforcement procedure, right? When extinction is involved in differential reinforcement, it's much more ethical. We have reinforcement as well. We're teaching other behaviors, on and on. Punishment has a long list of ethical things to consider. You have to on-go assessment of punishment. There's a lot of things to take into consideration when you use punishment. So typically, punishment is not more ethical than extinction. Punishment should be our last resort. C, one involves withholding stimuli, while one involves adding or removing stimuli. Yes. Now, what does this mean? Think about extinction. When we implement extinction, we're withholding reinforcement. We're not taking something away. We're not adding something. We're withholding. And that's a key difference because with punishment, we have positive and negative. We're either adding something in response to a response or we're taking something away. With extinction, we're simply withholding it. Nothing's changing, right? So that's the primary difference. And then D, extinction is a type of punishment. No, we just talked about that. Extinction is not a type of punishment. They're 2 distinct interventions. So what is a primary difference between extinction and punishment? Well, C, one involves withholding stimuli. One involves adding or removing stimuli. Joe is on a fixed diet because he wants to lose 30 pounds. He is allowed to eat every 3 hours. He pre-makes his meals, so he just needs to take them out of his fridge. He ate at 9 a.m. this morning. At 12 p.m., he eats again. 12 p.m. represents what? Tricky worded question. Okay. You have to slow down and you have to understand what the question is asking, right? So, what is the question asking about? They're asking about 12 p.m. Now, why do they want to know about 12 p.m.? Well, let's review what's going on. Joe's on a fixed diet. He can eat every 3 hours. He ate at 9 a.m. this morning. So at 12, what's going to happen? Well, Joe can eat again. And how does Joe know he can eat again? Because 12 p.m. functions as something now. What is 12 p.m. doing for Joe? Is it increasing the value of eating? Probably not. Joe probably already wants to eat really bad. If he's on a diet, right? If you ever dieted, you know how hard it can be. If he hasn't eaten for 3 hours, his motivation to eat is already high. It doesn't take 12 p.m. to get the motivation up. Is 12 p.m. signaling he can now eat? It is. Once 12 p.m. hits, Joe knows there is now reinforcement available for eating. If he eats before 12 p.m., there's probably punishment, okay, or something else. Once 12 p.m. hits, that is the SD to start eating. Okay, 12 p.m. hits, he grabs his food out the fridge, he eats his food. So if we look at our answer choices, A and MO, it's not an MO because the motivation is already high. The value of food is already high because Joe is already deprived. B and SD, yes, 12 p.m. is signaling to Joe now is the time to eat. It's not a prompt because a prompt follows an SD, and there's no prompts going on here. And it isn't a consequence because a consequence follows the response. 12 p.m. precedes the response, right? Let's just assume 12 p.m. is our SD. He eats again. Let's say he's full. Or 12 p.m. hits, he grabs his meal, he eats. However you want to look at it, 12 p.m. is an antecedent. Okay, 12 p.m. is not a consequence. So again, motivation is already high. 12 p.m. then signals that reinforcement for eating is available. So eating is available. It's not prompting, and it isn't a consequence. 12 p.m. represents an SD. Couple harder questions today, okay? So hope you're sticking along. Hang in there, right? This is why we practice. This is why we get better. If not, just pause the video or work through it and then keep going. Consider basic reinforcement schedules. Another way to describe variable would be blank. All right, now we're hitting you with an easy question. And that's kind of how the test is going to go, right? You might ebb and flow. You might feel like you're moving right along. Easy question, easy question, easy question. And that's a good feeling. A bad feeling is when you get hard question after hard question after hard question. You start to lose your confidence. Can't do that. You cannot allow yourself to do that, okay? Trust your preparation, trust your preparation. So in this case, basic reinforcement schedules, fixed intervals, fixed ratios, variable ratios. The word variable means what? What is another way to say it? Well, we know it means it's always changing, okay? A is out. Does variable represent time? No, interval represents time. Does variable represent responses? No, ratio represents responses. So that leaves us with D, average. Variable represents an average, okay? When we talk about a variable ratio, we're just talking about an average number. We're talking about variable interval, talking about an average interval. So another way to describe variable would just be to say average. A coach is evaluating his players for the upcoming season. He watches Trey run and labels him fast. He then watches Allen run and labels him slow. What is the coach using to describe behavior? Okay, let's think about it. What are the different ways we can describe behavior? No, they have to be objective and measurable, but let's go a little broader, right? We can describe behavior with A, the function, using the function. So why is it happening, right? Escape, attention, tangible, automatic. We can describe B, topography, the way the behavior looks. We can describe features, which is just a subset of topography. So topography and features are essentially the same thing. Or we can describe D, the magnitude. And remember, magnitude is like intensity, right? High, low, soft, loud. In this case, fast, slow. So the coach is describing the behavior when he says fast and slow. How? Is he describing the function? Is he saying why it's happening? He's not. So function's out. Is he describing topography? He's not. We don't know what it looks like. We just know he's fast or he's slow, right? And besides, topography and feature, we can't pick both. Have to eliminate them. So it leaves us with D, magnitude. He's describing the intensity of the behavior. The behaviors are fast, some are slow. We don't know why they're happening. We don't know what they look like, but we do know the magnitude. The coach is using magnitude to describe behavior. Your BCBA implements a token economy using a fixed ratio 2 schedule. You run the schedule for 3 weeks and your client masters several targets. Your BCBA goes out of town for a month, so you continue using the schedule. When your BCBA gets back, they adjust the schedule for a VR4, but the client engages in avoidance and stops responding. What probably occurred? Okay. I think there's two outcomes with this question. One, you've studied, you know it, well, you're fluent, and it's a very easy question. Okay. As soon as you see we've gone from an FR2 to a VR4 and the client stops responding, immediately you should consider something. Okay. Now, let's just break it down, right? What's happening? Well, you have an FR2 schedule, pretty thick, right? Pretty easy to get reinforcement. And you run it for 3 weeks, and then your BCBA goes out of town for a month. So you've been running the same schedule for almost 2 months, and the client's already mastered targets. The client's getting a lot of reinforcement very quickly, very easily. Now, when your BCBA gets back, they adjust the schedule for a VR4, which makes it a lot more difficult to obtain reinforcement. In response, the client stops responding and starts avoiding. What probably occurred? What do we consider this? Is this prompt dependency? Have we talked about any prompts? We haven't, so be very careful. We haven't talked about prompt dependency whatsoever. No prompts, no prompt dependency. Is it B, ratio strain? It is. Ratio strain occurs when we thin a schedule or we fade a schedule, and the result is the learner stops responding or engages in behavior or any of the maladaptive behaviors we aren't used to seeing, right? So basically, the client is experiencing ratio strain because it was very easy to get reinforcement. Now it's a lot more difficult, okay? And now they're going through this strain and stop and aren't responding. See, the schedule was thickened too much. The schedule wasn't thickened, it was thinned. When we fade, we thin. And then failure to generalize. We're not talking about generalization here. We're talking about the concept of ratio strain. And ratio strain is just simply a concept, which is if you're fluent, it's a very easy question because as soon as you see the client engage in avoidance and stop responding after we faded the schedule, you should immediately think, okay, looks like ratio strain. Grant's mom tells him he needs to take 5 bites before he can leave the table and go play video games. Grant's mom is using what type of measurement? Oh, super easy question. You should feel a relief, on the test when you get one of these. Boom, we answer it quickly, we move on. So if Grant's mom tells him he needs to take 5 bites, what is Grant doing? What is Grant's mom doing? Oh, she's counting, right? Just counting the bites. Count is just frequency. There's no rate because there's no time involved, okay? Not latency. It's not time between she said it and when he started. And it isn't inter-response time. She's not measuring how long it takes in between bites. She's not really concerned with that. She just wants to see, can you take 5 bites? I'm going to count. So Grant's mom is using what type of measurement? A, frequency. During an initial assessment, you're observing a brand new client. Your BCBA requests you take ABC narrative recording on different target behaviors. What will you be recording? Okay. Another measurement question, back to back. It could happen. Don't fall into the trap of thinking I won't get back to back certain questions or I can't pick this many answers in a row, blah, blah, blah. Forget all that. Okay. Answer the question in front of you. That's your only goal. Answer the question in front of you. So you have an initial assessment, observing a brand new client. Your BCBA requests you take ABC narrative recording on different target behaviors. So what is ABC narrative recording? That's what it's asking. Okay, what are we taking here? Well, ABC is antecedent behavior consequence. And if I'm taking ABC narrative recording, well, I'm looking for those things. So A, how long the target behaviors occurs. Are we talking about duration at any point here? We're not. Duration is not a factor. B, what happens before and after each behavior? All right, there we go, right? Antecedents before, after are consequences. That's what we're looking for. What about C? What is the consequence for each behavior? Now, we are recording consequences, but what's the better answer? B is the better answer because now we have our antecedents and consequences. B is going to be a better answer than C. You need to pick the best answer. And then D, the rate of each behavior. Are we talking about frequency, time here, or no? We're not, right? ABC narrative recording is its own type of measurement, own type of recording. When you ABC record, you look at antecedents and consequences before and after the behavior, and you take narrative data on what occurred. Finally, in order to renew your RBT certification, what must you do? What do you need to do to maintain good standing as an RBT? Well, first, you need supervision. You need 5% of your hours each month, and you need to log those hours monthly. That is your responsibility to log and have them signed and turn them in and keep track of those. B, complete the competency reassessment. You have to complete the competency every year. Go to my competency video, watch it, pass your competency, easy peasy. C, submit a renewal application. Absolutely, they want to get your application in. It works, right? So you need to log your supervision, you need to complete the reassessment, and you have to submit a renewal application. So in order to renew your RBT certification, you must do the above. Fantastic. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Join, questions, comments, let us know. Work hard, study hard.